This is Popping the Bubble with hosts Sandra Ponce de Leon and Pete A. Turner.
Hi, this is Yumi Alyssa Kimora. I'm the CEO and the co-founder at Lead Tech, aka Lead for Career, and you are listening to Popping the Bubble.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, Yumi, thank you so much for joining us. It's really great to have you here. We are here recording today at The Vault, which is a very special place. It's a collaborative workspace and innovation hub located in San Francisco, the heart of Silicon Valley innovation. The Vault celebrates innovators and entrepreneurs globally through its Vault Innovation Academy and offering a multitude of services such as online events, training courses, and expert resources for business growth and transformation. A little bit of a rocky start this morning, but thanks for coming and joining us. I know that you have a very successful previous career as the head of My2 before deciding to start Lead for Career. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming an entrepreneur.
Oh, yes. So thank you for having me here today. And so, by the way, the previous company is called May2.
May2. Of course, I pronounced it wrong.
Yeah, it's a Chinese-American company.
Okay.
A little bit about my background. I grew up in both China and Japan. And then I'm a mixed race. I know it's not a good topic to talk here in the US, but it's very important for people from Asia because that put me as a minority in my own country. I'm Japanese, Chinese, and then mixed with Russian.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. There's not many like you, huh?
Yes. So when I grew up, people always look at me in a different way. It was good and bad at the same time because in Asia, most of the we call the Hapa girl can only choose a career path as a model.
Really?
Or something, in entertainment. It's very hard for us to have a corporate career.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yes, so here in America, when I first got here and then see so many people are mixed race, I was, okay, it was a little bit bizarre for people to hear that I say I'm mixed race, but I'm really rare in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Is it something that people can tell right off the bat that you're mixed when they look at you?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
And it's very hard for people from here to tell.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're beautiful, but I would never know that you were mixed. Yeah. So how did this impact your career path, when you were living in Japan or in Asia?
Well, so my dad, he was very traditional man. He thought that girls, if you are pretty, you don't really need to work. You just either need to find a job as a model or you can marry off and then just live a housewife life. So he didn't really pay my tuition for me to go to college. Even I actually was accepted by a top college in China when I was younger.
Oh my gosh, that must have been so hard.
It was really hard. So he actually left home and I had to support me and my mom who was in the hospital back then and then start to and I couldn't get any scholarship.
Oh my gosh, Yumi, wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible story.
Thank you. So basically it was really hard and I have to basically, instead of going to school, I had to, working in hotel bar. It was a 5-star hotel bar and then as a singer.
Wow.
So my first job was a singer. I know it's really funny, but my first job was singer, and then I always wanted to go back to Japan, but I couldn't even buy myself an air ticket.
What? I don't understand. It's so foreign. What? That women don't, as a mixed race person, you cannot buy your own airline ticket?
No, it's like I don't have money to buy
I'm so sorry. Okay. I was taking it way too far. Okay. But yeah, you didn't, because of your limited job potential, you weren't able to have enough money to buy a ticket.
Yes.
Wow.
So I had to work for 3 months and then saving money and ask my customers for donations as I really want to continue schooling and then I want to start my own business and I want to go back to like Japanese society where I was in China and I want to go back to Japan and I don't have any money to buy air ticket and don't have parents supporting me, that kind of story.
Wow.
So that's how I initially get a little bit funding from kind of friends and people who I work with, and then they give me some money. It was like roughly 10,000-ish in China for me to get an airline ticket to Shanghai and start off my first business.
Wow.
Yes. So it was model agency and the translating agency, basically traditional business, some small business for me to start off. So that was my first entrepreneurship.
Yes. Wonderful. Wow. Yeah. So you made it to Shanghai. You started your business, but you with the intent of wanting to go to Japan, back to Japan.
Yes. Well, because people are really surprised by my language skill. I was a full bilingual in Japanese and Chinese, and I have no college degree. All the people freaked out. It's like, how come?
Wow.
And then I sold. So I eventually got into the real estate business because I was building network, and then I really have this true drive. I want to show that my parents. I want to show the world that they are judging me in a wrong way. So
wow. Yeah.
So I sold this house worth $4 million when I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not my house, but
yes.
I was
still that's a great commission.
I know. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, I was watching the San Francisco media listing, and then I found out there's a top real estate dealer, Ari Habibi. His 30 years old first selling was like 6 million. He was saying that was his biggest selling in the San Francisco area. And then I was selling 4 million in China when I was 20. So after I heard about that, I was like, okay, I was doing great.
Absolutely.
And I didn't really know how much that actually worth. Like, I didn't even try to mention that to people before I watched that show because well, just like other young women, I didn't really know how exactly I should evaluate myself, right? And then I went back to Japan and then got a law degree in Japanese Ivy League, and then studied also a little bit M&A stuff, and then start my career as a recruiter, and then M&A. And then during those periods, I was always suppressed by my managers because they always say, well, you are a woman and you are married, and then we're not sure how long you're going to work for the company. And they took all my balance away because they were saying, those men there, like your managers, they've been here for at least 5 years. We know they're going to be this money cow for our company. And you have a rich husband at home. You don't really need to work. One day you just don't show up at work. Who does what? No, nothing can reach you. I was like, that's not me. You don't know me. Like, why do you say this to me? So I quit my company, and then I scout the COO out of the company, and then started an advisory company for venture capital with him.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Yes. So basically, I'm the type of person that when people push me down, I don't just get off with nothing.
Yeah, you're a survivor, and you actually, it seems like your drive really, is so evident, and has gotten you so far. It's really amazing and very inspiring.
Thank you.
Yes.
So after I joined this advisory company for venture capital, and we raised a lot of million funds from corporate venture capitals. And when I went to meet him, my partner was still, people are kind of sexist, very sexist in Japan. It's kind of let's talk about the global gender ranking. The US is ranked as 45 out of 123 country in 2016, 17 something. And then Japan and China is 111th and 99. So you can see how much uphill fight I was up to back then. And then when I went to the meeting with my partner, people were saying, okay, tell your boss about this. I was like, oh, he's not my boss. He was, oh, sorry, your lover. I was like, no, not my lover. It's like, your dad? I was like, no, I'm his partner. He was like, what do you mean partner in life? So my business partner was laughing there. He didn't really like back me up. And then I was like, why are you laughing? He was, oh, it's very hard for them to understand. Think about our age gap. I'm the Tokyo University, the top Ivy League here, and then I'm 50-something, extra everything. And then you are just like 20-something, and then you are like slightly lower rank, like Ivy League stuff. And then you are like worked with me before, but you don't really have like really serious traction in this country yet, and you're a girl. Like, and
wow.
Yeah, it really got me.
Yeah.
And then I called my mentor here in the US. I was like, how can I make things change? It was like, this man, we worked together, and he didn't really got me back. And then didn't really got my back, and he was saying the things. It does make me feel like I want to change the business culture there, and there's no way for me as a little girl to change it. And then my mentor was like, why don't you come to America? And then because people respect Asian women who come to US and build a career, and then when you go back to Japan, when you go back to China, nobody will view you as a normal Asian woman anymore. And then I was like, and then I started to do some research, and I found out it was probably true. And then I asked my partner back then, I was like, is that true? Like, if I go to the States and have a career and then also do the same job but just different location, that will change everything? He was like, yeah, you're right, because I never can see those women who educated in Western culture the same way as they were normal Asian women, because they become bitcher.
Okay.
So
interesting.
So it was really interesting, and then that's why I just packed my stuff. In 2 weeks, I came here with 2 suitcases, and I was like, okay, let me start my career here.
Wow, incredible! What a journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So later, I came here, and then that was definitely something true that they told me about. So I got scouted by Meitu, the global director, and then he was searching for someone who can help him in charge Japan market. But Japan was the last country I want to go back to.
Really? But after you had wanted to go back there so much before, you decided that US was where you wanted to be.
Well, the thing is, if you think about economy, that, as a girl, I mean, even like in China, I didn't have education, and my parents were not really supportive, and it was very hard for me to strive my career. And as a Japanese, and then Japan was the only choice I could to make my life better. But I see Japan as a ladder for me to reach some place higher. Mm-hmm. So that's why I chose to go back to Japan. That was a path. But after that, I found out there's a limitation there because of my gender and age, which is not fair. So I decided to come here. So after I arrived here, I found out there were so much opportunities out there, not just my own company, but there's like big companies such as Google and, those kind of companies, they want people like me as well.
Absolutely.
So when this person told me he wanted me to go back to Japan, I was like, no. And then I actually refused him for a different job offer from the same person a year before that. But then the second time when he reached out, I was like, oh, the Japanese habit, you have to be polite. I was like, it's very hard to say no. Maybe just let me have some lunch with him. So I had a lunch with him, and then he asked me, so I'm interviewing people for almost half a year now, and there's no candidates. And then everybody asked me about the job description, but I'm a Chinese American company. I don't have a job description. I just have problems. And if I know how to solve the problem, why do I need to hire those people for? I was like, yeah, you're right. And then maybe you should hire my company as a consulting firm because we can do X, Y, Z. So I basically just told him a bunch of solutions. Then he was like, do you want to work for us? Like, you can't just stay in the US but work for us. Mm-hmm. And then this is like a one-time offer. And then he gave me this salary that's actually than I expected because it was not high, but I never worked in a tech startup before. I was working with venture capital, do pre-screening for them, and then do some consulting work, but never as an employee in a startup. And it was a unicorn and super famous, and I use their product. So basically, it's an AR with like facial recognition beauty app for you to take photos and then videos and make your face smaller, make the skin better, that kind of thing.
So like the Snapchat of China.
Something like that.
Or Facetune.
Facetune, Snapchat, but in China and Asia, Snapchat and Facetune are not the competitors because nobody even knows them.
Yes.
So basically, they were really famous, and then I joined them. And then I joined them. It was not actually I signed the agreement to join them. So this guy, he was really genius. He was like, "Do you use WeChat, by the way?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was, "I want to keep in touch with you in case you don't say yes." So I was, "Okay, here you are." And he added me to this whole company chat. The global team says, "Welcome on board."
Oh. Okay.
I was like, I didn't even sign anything. And the people started to say, "Oh, how can we do this? How can we do that?" And I was like, "Oh my God, those people are so lovely." And I was like, okay, I have to say yes. So that's how I got the role.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and then eventually I realized on the job, without going back to Japan, I can't make this thing happen. But I was just so worried because in Japan, there's no women who was under 30 in charge of giant unicorn tech company in the whole business history.
Incredible.
And then I was so worried. I was like, how people gonna take me seriously? My boss hired my first assistant, and he's a guy. When we rented this office in Tokyo, this real estate agency looked at me and then didn't even realize I was the guy's boss.
Yeah.
And then every time I walk into my office, the office ladies never greeting to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I first asked for meetings of all the other big company CEOs, even my company was bigger.
Yeah.
Nobody will say yes right away.
Wow.
And I have to actually do a lot of research and then do a presentation and then throw the paperwork there, says, okay, take a look. And then they will accept a meeting with me. At the beginning, was just that bad.
Incredible. Wow.
But after half a year, when everybody's talking about our products, because we made a really great job, I hired the whole team myself. And then we wake up all the dead users. Mm-hmm. And so eventually we were able to make 20 million users. And most of them are alive, like basically active users.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically 1 out of 3 girls are talking about Meitu's Beauty Plus and Makeup Plus, and then the applications I was working on. Mm-hmm. So then immediately the TV interview will come in, and then magazine will come in, and then everybody will ask for meeting, accept it right away, and then schedule it within 2 days.
Wow.
So it was just almost incredible, because in Japan, all the executives, they have their schedules full for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they can squeeze us in. So that was a really good experience, but also showing people that, girls can do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and so I mean, you've had so many trials and tribulations and faced so much discrimination. It's been such an uphill battle. It's actually very incredible, like what you've accomplished. I mean, how did that lead you to founding your own company, and what does Lead for Career do?
Well, so Lead for Career is using AI for corporate employee engagement, mm-hmm. retention, and diversity, especially focused in the promotion process. After I achieved so much for my previous company, my boss was still struggling to give me a bigger salary. Mm-hmm. He was like, how do you justify yourself? With your age and gender, and then plus of that,
still calling out the gender? That's incredible.
Yes. And
is this jerk?
He was like, for a cute girl in Asian culture, people think you are dumb. Even you have all the achievement for our company, it's very hard for me to persuade those men to give you a big rise. Think about it. You are compared with another man who's 40 years old in L'Oreal or all the big company as director level. They have much more experience than you, and then you are asking for the same range of salary. Like, how do you justify that? I was like, what did this man do for you? So he was like, okay. He was like, if you're gonna quit, I'm gonna fire everybody that you hired. And he started to threaten me.
Wow.
Then I was like, well, at the moment, I think I wanted a mentor. And then I wanted to ask people who've been through similar experience, how do they solve those problems, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I also wanted to start my own company. And then so I was like, okay, I give you 3 months notice, and then I will quit no matter what. And then after I quit my job, the HR called me back, says, Yumi, we consider your contribution to the company, and then, actually we want to double your salary.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, no, it's kind of late. Yeah. He was like, how about just consulting project? We still double your salary, like hourly rate. I was like, you should have done that much earlier.
Wow.
So I really think that young people like myself earlier, I didn't really know my worth.
Yeah.
I was constantly seeking for mentorship and then sponsorship, and it was very hard for me to get. And within the company, there are so many politics, and there's no way to go beyond that to let my voice to be heard. And then eventually, my former boss, because the new person he hired couldn't perform, he was transferred to other decisions eventually. So I was thinking, if you put someone who have capability of make your job easier, and if you for somehow let this person leave your company, the price you will pay, not just as a company, as a manager yourself,
Absolutely.
is huge.
Yeah.
So that opened my eyes to that, in America, each year 5 billion loss due to the disengagement of employee and retention and diversity. And then, in some states, those kind of anti-discrimination training are mandatory by law, right? And then companies in here spend 8 billion for that, especially the diversity training and then anti-sexual harassment training. But those are not barely working, because companies still lose 68 billion every year.
Through employee churn, because of employee churn.
Because of the failure of the trainings and everything. So that's why we thought we want to use AI to not just building a mentorship platform for people to find the mentors and sponsors based on projects, and then, the like manhood or maybe reverse mentoring to increase the diversity. And then eventually want to provide additional data sets for companies to see who are the true leaders here, what's the potential problem here, who are, how many percentage people are leaving for what type of reasons in real time to prevent them quit. Because right now, all the companies are trying to do peer-to-peer service and questionnaires and then manager review and then peer-to-peer review, and everything is past tense. Because when people quit or something...
Yeah, they're quitting because they've already had an experience that's impacted them negatively, or multiple experiences. Yes. So you want to catch them before.
Yes.
Yes. And so how do you do that in the moment? How do you do that in the present moment? How does AI enable that?
For the AI part, well, we use machine learning and natural language processing. So we have different products, and then
so you're taking machine learning and you're reading their email, and they're saying, when you see them writing about how their boss sucks, that's when you need to interject.
Not exactly.
Good.
When people want to, so the thing is, when people have a problem, when people are frustrated, the thing they will do is to talk to their mentors. And then the way to help them to actually solve the problem is to find someone with experience exactly the same way. And then that's something we match automatically with this machine learning, basically on project instead of period. Because the traditional mentorship within companies and organizations is that you come to some HR or maybe mentorship manager, have a 30 minutes interview, and then wait for a couple of weeks, and then they will use Excel to match you with someone. But we are actually using a lot of data sets, hundreds, thousands of data sets to analyze, what's this person's soft skill and what's the current position, and then what's the person's interest, how likelihood the two people will kick off.
When you're measuring that, so are you actually looking at their behavior online, the functions they're performing, the specific to work? What's the data that you're collecting?
Well, social media data.
Social media data, okay.
And also their own behavior data from, internal communication. We do see, group behaviors a little bit. But then, it really depends. So basically our platform, I need to roll back a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a social media. So it's AI across organization, and it's also for individual. So companies pay subscription fees for the employees per monthly, and then individual can sign up for free. It's kind of like Slack, right?
Okay, so it's sort of this communication platform layer that you roll out to the company, and because it's got your AI embedded in it, you can actually tell the level of conversations and whether they're positive or negative.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Then people come, so those data are not sharing with anybody. It's just for the machine to learn about this person and then match this person with the help. And then with, we have a different module on the platform. Some you can find a mentor inside the company, organizations, and then your own network, and also the whole platform based on, personality, locations, and different things. And then when you need their help, you don't need to wait for a couple of weeks or even a couple of hours. You can just go to find them and then start to send in request, and you can have different mentors to help you with different projects about you at the same time.
Okay.
So it's something like that. And then we have a Q&A part for people to ask questions internally. And it's kind of like a Quora, but inside of company organization. And then we have a smart bot will go around and then ask people questions periodically to find out how good you are feeling, especially if this person's motivation towards job is down. Then we'll be able to find out, to ask questions and see if you want to report someone or maybe report some stuff. And then if the situation matches with other people, we will be able to tell the HR anonymously that is there something you want to take action on, and then we will take both parties to agree on what they want to choose, to whether let the company to take action or not. Those kind of things to actually really keep those people in the company.
Right.
And then we want to we think that for employees' career growth, it's not just yourself navigating in the big ocean. You want the companies to make something for you as well.
Absolutely.
So eventually, right now we don't have the function yet, but we want to, for the company managers and then C-level people, we also wanted to think about using natural language processing to analyze unconscious bias, not just from Jira's task distribution, and task levels, those kind of things, but actually to analyze people's behavior, and then to find this bias, the bias towards yourself, bias towards other people. Of course, it's like in a anonymized chart, those kind of things to help people to protect their own data, because privacy is really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but everybody gave out a little bit your intention. You can not just help yourself, but also each one in the environment will change the environment and culture slowly or maybe fastly if we have sufficient data. So definitely something we're looking into at the moment.
Amazing.
How do you guys use your AI to sort through what bias is good, bad, or has an influence that is outside of what is desired?
Well, the thing is we work with neuroscientists and also data analysts, and then also diversity and then retention experts to train the model and make it more.
But don't you have to define diversity then?
Yes. So basically, I think some bias are good bias, some bias are
Sure.
bad bias.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for each company and team, they have their own goal as well. And then at the moment, we don't have the product yet. So it's very hard for me to explain it.
Sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
It sounds like it will be incredibly valuable when it does come to market. What is your go-to-market? When is that planned for?
So our MVP 1.0 is gonna be launched in the Vault in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh,
Wow,
how exciting.
It's time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and then the smart feedback one will be launched within 4 months. So we don't really have the plan yet, like exactly plan yet to post this on social media to let normal people sign in. But that's one of my passion. I really want anybody, like literally anybody who have a drive inside of her or himself can sign up with or without joining a great company, because not everybody can be recognized as a gold inside of a lot of signs when you are not ready, like me. So I never joined some super famous company when I was much younger. And then I really hope that a service cannot just discriminate against people who are underprivileged. And it's actually, as a reverse, it's my passion to help people who are underprivileged to have this privilege.
Yes. Wonderful. Wow. Well, what an incredible story and journey that you have.
Thank you.
We are definitely going to be watching you and Lead for Career as you come to market. How can people find out more information? Will people individually will be able to sign up as well as companies, and it's going to make incredible impact because you're going to be applying machine learning and AI to basically understand really the culture and happiness level within the company and make proactive moves to adjust for that, right?
Yes, and also individual, because there's a lot of stories of how I start to think about the platform. I design the most of the function myself.
Wow.
From my own experience, like, at this moment, I really wish something XYZ. So I started writing it down, and then a lot of things is like I developed at the most of time I was helpless, and then so basically I'm really happy I met my co-founder, who's like very genius engineer. We had initial talk for 10 hours about my problems, issues, what I want to build, and then we talk every day about how we can make this platform better, how we actually can use this to achieve my goal and vision. So definitely individuals can use this to change their own things about themselves, and also adopt and find mentors and sponsors, and also maybe leverage the platform to talk to their company and then change their company culture as well, and maybe organization as well. Basically, the platform can allow any companies and membership organizations to engage people and then make the community and then environment a better place. So that's pretty much. You asked me how do they find it?
Yeah.
Yes. So you can go to www.leadforcareer leadforcareer.com.
Yep.
And then you can put your information at the sign up place or maybe sign in place. And then if you are not a user, it will guide you to the wait list. And then when we launch, we will notify the person.
Okay. Cool. Very, very exciting. Well, thank you so much, Yumi, for joining us here at the Vault.
It's super neat.
Yeah, very inspiring conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you're doing as well.
You can find out more about them on Twitter at Lead for Career, and about Yumi at Alyssa_YMK. Of course, you're at Sandramp, and I'm at Pete Turner on Twitter. We will talk to you at Popping the Bubble with no E at the end. So definitely reach out on Twitter and hit us up, and we will interact with you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yumi.
Thank you all.